Welcome to the Drama-Free Living Podcast. Dennis and Lisa McIntee here, and we just want to say Merry Christmas. It's that season, and one thing that we wanted to kind of talk about is the whole Christmas Carol idea. And what's interesting there is that the Christmas Carol, it's got a great relationship to time, right?
And this time we're talking about the present. Dennis, what's the purpose of the present? What does the present teach us?
The present is where we create value. You know, Lisa, you can't create value in the past. Right? The past is past. And in fact, you know what? Right now as a recording, I can't create value 5 minutes ago because 5 minutes is already gone. The only place I can create create value is the present right now. And I can't create it in the future, right? Because the future hasn't happened yet. So really learning like, hey, we're in the present right now. Now is where I create value. Now is where I make my contribution. Because I can't make a contribution in my past or I can't make a contribution in the future. But here's the deal, Lisa. How many people live in the past? Right? I'm thinking about the past. I got my brain in the past and I'm not contributing right now. Or I'm always thinking about the future. Right now I'm thinking about tomorrow. I'm thinking about next week. I'm thinking about what we're going to have for dinner. If I was thinking about what we're having for dinner right now, I wouldn't be able to contribute to the podcast.
Absolutely. And I love what you said is that we can't create value in the past because I can't create value from a minute ago. I can't create value from 3 hours ago. And I can't create value 3 hours from now. But everything that I do right now has an impact on 3 hours from now and what value is created in 3 hours. And everything I do right now actually has an impact on 3 hours ago and how I frame it. And so the present is where we frame the past, but it's also where we set up the value so then the future can be valuable.
It's because things become valuable when you're able to extract the value.
Right.
And that's what we want to help people with is it's our relationship with time in these three areas of time so that we extract all the value we can because it's the one thing we all have.
Absolutely.
We all have time. And what I love is this idea of, we have what we are in the womb is God's gift to us and what we are in the tomb is our gift back to God. But the thing that's constant for everybody is time. Some people get 50 years, 100 years. Some people get 18 years. Some people get 6 years. But we have all different time frames, but we all get this gift of time. And we can't change anything that we are in the womb, right? It's like these gifts, these abilities, these were given to us, when we were born, but we have this gift of time. And what we do with this time really determines what we are in the tomb.
Absolutely. And when we were talking about the value of time and what time gives us and it being Christmas, we thought of A Christmas Carol.
There you go.
And A Christmas Carol really is Scrooge's relationship with time, the past, and the value that he had to kind of extract from it and how he framed it and the present in his opportunity to see those around him that were less fortunate, those around him that had a need for opportunities that he could provide, and then the future and what he was going to do with that knowledge that he had. And so when we think of our relationship with time and Christmas time, it always kind of goes back to that fundamental truth from the Christmas carols that Charles Dickens gave us.
Yeah, and so what do we do with this time? And now listen, before we get started, we want to talk about three different things, but listen, Merry Christmas. We want to give you the EI, the Emotionally Intelligent course. It's the holiday bundle. So what we're going to do, just click the link there in the show notes, and you're also going to get drama-free relationships. You're going to learn how do you navigate relationships, especially during Christmas time. And it is our free gift to you. It's over $100 value, drama-free relationships. You get that as part of the bundle. It's an audio course. I think it's over an hour of great content and really practical strategies, and then drama-free productivity. And we really kind of cover some of the things in depth about time and how do you master time in very practical ways that you can really extract the value from these three time frames. And so that is a holiday Christmas because we want to be givers. So if you purchase the Emotionally Intelligent course, you're also going to get those two added bonuses, and it's our free gift to you. Merry Christmas. Lisa, so let's kind of dive into these three different areas of how do we navigate through the present.
Absolutely. So on this podcast, we're talking about the present and our relationship with the present. Scrooge had an opportunity to see in depth his relationship with the present, who he was and how he was relating to these people around him and what these people had. And one of the things that he learned was really the awareness. He became aware. The Ghost of Christmas Present gave him the opportunity to become aware of what was going on around him and with the people around him, and then also kind of his feelings and how he was feeling about it. And this awareness, this practicing mindfulness is just a super powerful thing. And with that is savoring experiences, walking around and thinking, okay, what's going on right now? Like if I'm going to savor this experience right now that I'm with you, I think, okay, this is an amazing time that I have just to kind of have a conversation with you. And we're going to mind our manners because it's being recorded. So we're not going to let anything go. We're not going to let anything go out of control and thinking, okay, what do I appreciate about this right now? Actually, I kind of appreciate I've got my sweater on and it's kind of warm and cozy and I'm feeling, I kind of feel kind of happy and comfortable with this. And it's nice and bright. And because I could think, oh man, I'm here and I'm in the studio and this is just something we got to do, check the box, and I can leave here without thinking, we're having just a really great fun time with you and with Nicole and with Asher and all, it's just things like this that cement us into the present, that hold our feet and keep us from kind of going back into the past and pulling the negative things, but also keeps us from running too far forward.
Well, I think it also slows life down a little bit.
It absolutely does.
Because how many people think like, oh my gosh, life is just happening so fast and so busy, and it doesn't have to be that way if you know what to do with the present.
Yeah. So when you're at a meal, it's like savoring a meal. If you go out for drinks, it's like really taking time to enjoy the people that you're around, appreciating the situation, appreciating the fall when the leaves are changing, or when it's a snow day and you're stuck inside and you look outside and it's like, it's really pretty out there.
Well, and it's really like being where you are.
Absolutely.
Right. And so and at least have you ever had this experience where like you just step back and go, okay, where am I right now? And what am I doing? And why am I doing this? And what am I looking at? And and it almost like gives you this burst of renewed energy.
Well, really actually, when you first said, have you ever thought about thinking, okay, where am I right now? I have that sometimes. I get in my car and I back out and I turn down our street and I turn down the main street and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, wait a minute, where am I going? And I'm completely clueless. I'm thinking, wait, where am I going? And it's because I'm not mindful, and it's because I'm not in the present.
Right.
It's because my brain is off somewhere else, and I'm thinking, and I've done that before. I have been driving, and I have completely driven to the wrong place because I wasn't in the present and I wasn't mindful of what was going on. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to turn around because I completely drove to the wrong place.
Well, I had this experience when I flew back into Greenville a couple of weeks ago, is that you didn't pick me up. I had to get an Uber because you had another appointment. I got in the Uber and I got up my phone and I was like, looking at some text messages, and I was texting, and about 10 minutes later, I was like, I just missed like half of 85. And I said, wait a minute, I got to be where I am. I just put my phone away and I just look out at the window, and I was like, wow, I didn't see that billboard before. I had never seen that billboard before.
And when we do that, it gives us the chance to pay attention to our thoughts.
Yeah.
Gives us a chance to pay attention to our feelings and our surroundings. And there's no judgment. It's just observation.
Well,
because otherwise we get all of these feelings and these reactions and these emotions and these thoughts. And when we don't pay attention to them right now, they kind of just get packed down. And then if you get enough negative stuff packed down, at some point it's just going to kind of explode out of you.
I'm glad that never happens to me.
Because you didn't get a chance to be like, oh yeah, that kind of really irritated me. And just being able to say it or express it, or like hit your hand on your knee, hit your hand. I was going to do it, but it would make a big noise. And because when you don't savor those things, it builds up as stress. And there's this interesting study that was back from 2007, but I'm pretty sure it applies today. So psychological science back in 2007, they did this study, and it was that mindfulness practices, mindfulness practices of savoring your experiences, of being where you are, of being aware of what's going on. It's linked to improved attention. It's linked to improved focus. And it's also linked to improved cognitive functioning, which I found was really fascinating. And as a result, it gives us a greater sense of purpose and a greater sense of meaning. Yeah. And I'm thinking, gosh, if that's all I have to do to get smarter is to be more mindful and to savor my experiences, and it makes me smarter, I can totally do that. If that'll improve my cognitive functioning, I'm here for it.
Well, and I think part of it is because you savor your experiences, you learn from your experience, right? Absolutely. So you think about cognitive. Now, as you're talking, I'm thinking about this idea, we say pay attention. Okay, so think about this. If we pay attention, right, just like money, we pay money, right, and money is a resource. Attention is a resource. It is. And actually, your attention is your resource, and you have to pay it somewhere. So where are you paying your attention to? And then you think about if you pay it, then what's the reward? If I pay for something, then what's the reward I need to get from it? And I think when you pay attention, that's when you get the reward of having your life slow down. So it becomes this valuable resource. But if you don't think it's a resource, you'll just kind of give it away. You'll just give it away to people, right? And we all know that, places like Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and even though we're on YouTube right now, right?
Or the television.
They think your attention is very valuable.
Or your dog,
right? So pay attention. But that's not all. With the present, we want to use the present to connect with others. Yeah. Right? Because the value of our life is really in the connection. I know the deeper the connection, the more value I create. And so it really becomes, how do I connect with others? How do I go deep with others? Because the deeper I go, it's like the more intimate I can become with somebody, knowing who they are, the more impact I make with them. And it's this idea of impact is really based on intimacy. Is the more intimate I become with others, the more impact I can have. And relationships become this valuable sort of vehicle to help us get to our future and help them get those relationships get to their future. So, but what I've seen is that, time constraints, right? Busy schedules, they can kind of limit these opportunities, and just really realizing like, hey, we're here. How do I connect with you better? How do I connect with the two people helping us with our podcast? What are they even called? What are you guys called? We don't even know what you're called. You're engineers, right? Our sound engineers. And how do we connect better with our sound engineers? Because the more connection we can make, the more impact that we can have. And then it kind of comes down to this other idea when connecting with others, is that sometimes I know I struggle with lack of empathy. And we're reading this great book, and I said great book. And
are you talking about People Fuel or Entitlement Cure?
I'm talking about People Fuel. So we're going to put notes in the show. It's John Townsend's, one of his latest books but this whole idea in the book, he talks about getting in somebody's well. And that's a skill that I'm really kind of learning, because a lot of times that people want support, they just don't want a solution.
And what do you mean by getting in someone's well?
Which means that I can get in and I can, give you affirmation, and I can really get where you're coming from without judgment, and helping you just be a person to process what you're learning, what you're feeling, what you're going through, and really attune to you.
So instead of being at the top of the well and saying, "Hey, grab the rope and climb up,"
idiot,
you get
say idiot.
You get down in the well with them
and say, "Here, I'll help you climb up,"
and you support them as they climb up.
Yeah. And so it's really this idea of, and it's almost like attunement is like the strings of a guitar. When I tune the strings of a guitar, it's like they're in harmony. And so it's really kind of being in harmony with people. And even what I've seen, Lisa, is that one thing that distracts us or hurts us from these connecting with others is these digital distractions, right? Is our devices, and especially in the age of smartphones, we have constant connectivity. And like when we're with relationships, just put the phone down, right? If we're at dinner, then be where you are. Don't be on your phone thinking about like what's happening, in other parts of the world, but be right where you are at the dinner table.
What's really interesting is I was in London a month ago.
Yeah.
And for my nephew's graduation, and we went to a pub. Okay, so pubs in London are so cool. They've got all these flowers and this beautiful architecture and everything, and it's only the pubs. Only the pubs look like that, and that's how you know it's a pub. But we went up into this pub, and a pub is different than a bar in the States. It's a restaurant that serves beer and stuff.
All of your English friends, they get it.
Yeah. Or if you've been over there.
Yeah.
But what was fascinating is this pub had pretty good signs all over, and it said this is a digital-free zone, as in no devices at all. And it was just... Now, that wasn't the norm necessarily for pubs, but in this particular pub, it was, and there were a couple times we were like, oh, well, we need to check on if my other nephew texted, and we were kind of feeling guilty.
Yeah.
Because we were like, we're trying to sneak, because it said, if it's a digital free zone and if you choose to be on your devices, then you need to leave. And we were like, gosh, we don't want to get kicked out.
Yeah.
But it made it so my sister and my nephew and I, we connected because you're sitting there face to face, and we just had a wonderful conversation because it was a digital-free zone.
And you were in the moment.
We were in the moment.
Right. So maybe you need to create a digital-free room in your house, or maybe you need to have a digital-free house. It looks different for everybody.
That would be tough, a digital-free house.
It would. Do you remember we used to do these technology-free weekends where it was just put the phones away and we didn't get on them. And I just realized, Lisa, how many times do we just pick up our phone and look at it during the day?
I don't do it very often.
Well, I have found out that I do it a lot more, and so I've just gotten into the habit of just turning my phone off. If I have really focused work, or just I want to concentrate on a relationship or really be with you, then just really turn the phone off and just put it away for a season, because
I like that idea.
I know it's a great idea. Yeah,
great idea.
Yeah, and so another sort of barrier to connecting with people, right? It can become this fear of vulnerability. And here's the best way to create impact is really intimacy. And we talked about this before, but here's a way to look at it: is intimacy is into me see. Right? So it's not this crazy thing where you're sharing all of your laundry or dirty laundry, but you're just letting people see into you. Right? This is how I feel about this. This is what scares me. This is what makes me angry, irritates me, frustrates me. And you're just letting people see into you a little bit. And it creates this transparency, this vulnerability that really shapes relationships, and you deepen that connection with others.
Right. And it doesn't have to be awkward. You don't have to go and be like, and say, this and this, and I just really feel sad because this happened and this happened. It's not like that. It's sitting down or we're standing up here having a conversation, and it's like, you know what? I just kind of feel happy being here with you because I'm enjoying this conversation, and I enjoy seeing Nicole and I enjoy seeing Asher because they're just really kind people, and just kind of sharing a little bit deeper. We call it under the table.
I was going to just mention that. Under the table, above the table.
Above the table is everything you can see and observe. If you're looking under the table is kind of what you have to verbally express. It's what people can't necessarily see. They might be able to see there's something going on with your face, but why? It's the why behind what's going on. And so it'd be like, I kind of under the table would be, I'm just kind of really enjoying my time with you and hanging out here talking.
Yeah.
And that would be an example of being vulnerable, because you don't have to like really just
share all your
share it all out there.
Right. Yeah. So
just giving a little, just practice giving little bits of tidbits on how you feel or what you think.
Yeah. And so go under the table. Okay. Just go a little bit under the table. So that's connecting with others. And then also in the present, we have to maintain healthy habits.
Absolutely.
Right. And so here's some ideas is that many times, like with healthy habits, right, because I don't make my future. I don't create my future. I just really create my habits, and habits are created every day. And those habits like really make my future. And so you make your habits. So what are the habits that you need to develop? What are the nutrition habits? What are the physical habits? What are the
sleep habits? The
mental habits? What are the emotional habits that you need to create? Because we're habit-making creatures. And you're successful today. The success that you experience are directly related to the habits that you've created, right? Your results whether good or bad, right? All of the results are a reflection on the habits that you've created. So look at your results and go, are those the results I want? If not, what are the results I want? And then what are the habits that I need to create? And we'll kind of dive more into that when we get into the first of the year. But really the present right now is for habits, right? So one habit I'm really working on is this whole idea of whitening my teeth at night. I haven't quite started yet, but right, it's like thing I'm thinking about, right? Like we've conquered the taking vitamins before we go to bed habit, right? Taking our supplements, and you just continue.
We've conquered the make your bed in the morning habit.
We have. We've conquered. Thank God we've conquered the brush your teeth in the morning habit. That's been a great one to conquer.
And the brush your teeth at night habit.
And so people say making habits is hard, but it's really not. It's like we're all a creature of habits. We just have to decide what they are. And then I know procrastination is a big killer, right? So we kind of delay things. And so just start today. Sometimes people have overwhelming goals, right? They have these huge goals and maybe you're overly ambitious. And Lisa, I went through this time where I just stopped setting goals. Because right? And it seemed really odd to me. I was thinking, what is going on internally? Well, and I think what happened is that I don't think I have unreasonable goals, but I know I have unreasonable timelines.
Well, and I also think that when you decided you were going to just stop setting goals, I think you maybe didn't have the healthiest relationship with time.
I didn't. And really, as I've developed this relationship that's a more complete relationship with time, I've been able to set goals. And that's what's fascinating. I've been able to set goals, but live in peace, live in joy, live in happiness, right? Because I used to set these goals, and then I lived angry, because I didn't understand the relationship with time. And
so what's the point in setting goals if you're just going to be angry? So just don't set goals. Yeah, it's kind of the mindset behind that.
Yeah, and it's almost like people with high ambition, sometimes it can really actually hurt them. Mm-hmm. And so understanding, that's why we want you to have a great relationship with time, the past, the present. We'll get to the future on the next podcast episode. And then this whole idea, sometimes I think in the present, there's this lack of immediate rewards. And how do you create sort of small rewards every day? Goes back a little bit to celebrating the wins, but hey, I'm going to run. What's my internal reward? Now listen, if I run, my reward is not eat a bowl of ice cream, right? We got to set the right rewards. We got to set the right, optimization for healthy boundaries and healthy behaviors. But how do we create like little simple rewards that fuel our daily progress?
Right. So one of my rewards that I had established a long time ago, and honestly, I got to be totally honest, I'm not doing it right now, and I want to get back to it, is I enjoy nonfiction, and I enjoy fiction.
Yeah.
But there's certain times of day when I want to learn and everything. I'm going to read something that increases my brain power, increases my understanding. But when I want to relax, I want to read a good novel. And so, or just maybe a good historical fiction, different things like that. And I also needed to kind of reinforce my desire to go to the gym. Mm-hmm. And so I would pick a book. And it was actually a book that was part of my book club. And I would only allow myself to listen to it. I had Audible, and I would only allow myself to listen to it the minute I got down and I sat in my car to head to the gym. I would push play. And I would listen to it all the way to the gym. Yeah. I would listen to it all the way during the time I was working out. And then I would listen to it all the way home. And when I got home, it got shut off. And I wouldn't turn it on again until the next day when I got in the car to head to the gym. And I knew I had 2 weeks to get this book read. So there was an extra pressure of, okay, I've got 2 weeks, and the only time I can read it or listen to it is when I'm to or from or at the gym. And then the other thing is I really would get involved in some of these books that I was listening to. Yeah. And so it was kind of a double reward. Number one, the reward was I know I was going to show up to book club and have my book done. But number two, I was going to be able to really get into this story. And it didn't matter what happened, what was going on in the middle of the story. When I got home and shut the car off, I just had to wait. Yeah. And I had to put it on hold until the next day when I got in the car. And that's a way of having an immediate reward going to the gym.
Yeah, I have the same thing because right now I'm training for some long distance runs. And so every week I have to do this long run. And Lisa, I complain about it. I don't want to do it, how much time it's going to take. But I do have an Audible book that I'm only listening to on my runs. And it's I want to get to the next thing. I want to continue to like finish it and learn from it. It's a great book and it's really helping me just mentally, but I purposely only listen to it on my runs. And so even today I'm thinking, okay, do I have time to get in a run because I want to finish this part of the book. And so that's what we mean by, how do you create these rewards? Lisa, this has been fun really dealing with the present. And I think for me, here's the big takeaway is this idea of paying attention. Is really like, here I am right now, be where I am. Don't be two days later, 2 days into the future thinking about, okay, Friday, what do we have to do and what's got to happen Friday? And, we're doing that television interview and we're doing this on Friday. But it's like we're recording this on Wednesday afternoon. So I'm here. This is Wednesday afternoon. Where am I? What am I learning? What am I experiencing? And how do I make the most out of it? And this idea is that attention is my resource. I have to own my resource, right? Just like I own my past, I also own my now. And the way that I own my now is by owning my attention.
Absolutely. So for me, I love the whole idea of immersing myself in my present experience. Now, you've heard the saying, what is it? The days are long and the years are short.
Yeah.
Well, I think that saying applies when you're not immersing yourself in your present experience.
Yeah.
When you're immersing yourself fully in your present experience, I think it makes your days not be so long and full of drudgery, but it makes your days more full.
There's more energy to them.
There's more energy, there's more enjoyment, there's more fullness to your days. But it also, your years, they say, are short, but wait a minute, is it because maybe you weren't fully enjoying each of these experiences? And so your years are short because all of a sudden the year's up and you're like, wait, where did it go? And you don't have all of these experiences that you savored and that you immersed yourself in.
Yeah. So we really want to encourage you, increase your relationship with time. So this is why with the EI Holiday Bundle, we've actually included Drama-Free Productivity, which really talks through a lot of these time mastery ideas about how do you do in practical steps with how do you navigate your relationship with time. It's a 2-hour audio course. And then we also threw in, because it's the holidays, right? Because we all got crazy Uncle George and, weird Aunt Sue, and we've all got these funny relatives, right? And listen, if you don't know who the crazy uncle is in your family, you're probably that crazy uncle, okay? If you don't know who the crazy aunt is, if you haven't already defined it, you are probably that crazy one. Right. And so we threw in Drama-Free Relationships. So that's our Merry Christmas to you. It's the EI Bundle, the Emotionally Intelligent course. And you really learn how do you navigate through all these emotions, because Lisa, a lot of the things that we talked about today, they're really emotional issues, right? My relationship with time is really an emotional issue. It's not a logical issue. So how do I navigate through some of those emotions? So that's for you, Lisa. This has been fun. Any last words?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. We'll see you next time on the Drama-Free Living Podcast.